What's up, everybody? I'm Greg Miller, and this is the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Yo.
Nick, we're tired. We were at Comic-Con, but while we were at Comic-Con, something big happened. Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, official trailer. It's super long. We want to talk about it. Everybody out there kept tweeting me wanting responses, but we were too busy partying it up at Comic-Con.
We were drinking our faces off.
We lived at Comic-Con, but let's talk about this trailer, all right?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank God that they decided to actually put the HD version of this trailer
Thank you, Zack Snyder. Thank you, Warner Brothers, for doing that. These people in their Hall H premieres. I get it.
You know, I understand it. I talked to Tim about this a little bit because they also released a Suicide trailer, or they showed a Suicide Squad trailer, and they also showed the Deadpool trailer.
Right.
And both of those I had to unfortunately suffer through. The shaky cam where, like, you know, it was on this part of the screen, and then it would blink out for a second and come back on this part, and then someone would inevitably stand in front of it and pick their nose for a couple seconds. Tim's concept behind that is that it actually adds to it heightens the hype, the hype about it.
Sure, I agree.
Which I have to agree with. It's
my main thing is I want to make sure that people who wait overnight in line for Hall H are getting rewarded with something. It's honestly one of those things, like, I can live without all these exclusives. I don't mind. Right. I want to see them, you know what I mean? Obviously, and that's why I'll go watch bootlegged footage. Sure. But I don't really usually bitch too much that they don't put it out in HD.
No, I'm not bitching, but I am saying, you know, Zack Snyder, if you're watching, I'm sure you are.
What's up,
you're
Zach?
Watching right now. Thank you for this. This is awesome.
This trailer is so fucking good.
I have watched it 5 times because it is in HD, and I can hear the audio, and I can hear the dialogue, and I can see the definition in the suits, and I can tell if that's the Robin suit. I mean, I'm probably going to watch it 2 or 3 more times before
100%,
the day's out.
No, what was exciting about this for me is that just last week I had put up a video where we were talking about superhero movies over on Game Over Greggy's show, right? And I laid out a little bit of my whole thing about what I think DC's doing in their universe, how Man of Steel underwhelmed me the first time I saw it because of my high expectations. Then when I saw it again with lowered expectations, which sounds terrible, I started to get like, okay, wait, this is their take on it. I shouldn't be so hard on it. And then seeing the trailer here, it's still that gray thing. And then seeing Suicide Squad, it's like they're building in this realistic world of what it would be like if these heroes and villains started popping up, right?
Yeah.
And so for me to have that belief, that's where I've been giving them a lot of slack and be like, I think you're doing something. I think you're building something with the DC universe. I'm excited to see where it goes. And the rest of the internet has been against me, saying, no, Man of Steel sucked. This is gonna suck too. And then you watch this trailer, and this trailer's fucking awesome.
Yeah, this trailer. Let's start at the beginning of the trailer.
Let's do it.
Where
it starts. It's black screen.
We hear Holly Hunter, as a U.S. senator, talking about kind of where the world is now. Right. We don't know. We don't know what Superman is. We have to get to the bottom of it. It's not like it's not his fault. We just have to figure out what this guy stands for because we don't know. And it seems from some of the dialogue in the trailer that not even he knows. Right. He still has that conflict of conscience where he's trying to figure out, is he going to be the man his father thinks he can be, or is he going to go some other direction with it, right? So and this is the trailer, obviously speaking. We don't know. He might become 100% resolved toward the beginning of the movie.
Sure.
We don't know.
But you assume he won't be because there are these two warring factions over him.
Right.
He's to Superman. He's Clark Kent.
Right.
He's just this guy who has these powers and all these different things. He knows that he was, irresponsible in a way for all these deaths, and now he has part of the world that thinks he's a god and a savior, and he's going to fix all their problems, and another part that thinks he's the devil.
Right. So we see a beautiful shot of him, obviously, like dropping down in front of the Senate
Capitol,
the Capitol building, and there's protesters out there, and then we see him basically walking into the courtroom and
to give his testimony.
On what happens. But the more interesting of the aspects, and this is where I think that they're starting to do their grand plan, or however grand, is starting to actually unfold, and it's starting to sell the shit out of me, was that we see the shot of Zod. Well, we don't see the shot of Zod. We don't see Zod in this until later in the trailer.
But we
see the lasers that Zod shot out into one of the buildings.
Yeah, it's them battling with their heat vision.
Cut to the opposite shot of that, like what was happening on the outside of it, and we see an older, grislier, sort of worn down Bruce Wayne.
An adult Bruce Wayne, who's clearly in Metropolis on business during this.
Right, and he's staring in terror at this thing that, even though we know he's been the Batman for so long, his brain can't quite comprehend. We get that shot.
Yeah.
And anyone who was doubtful that Ben Affleck could be a good Batman, from this trailer alone, I'm not saying he's going to be the best Batman on the planet, he sold me on this, and he sold me on the fact that he is an older Bruce Wayne, and he is the Dark Knight Bruce Wayne.
Well, you're talking last night, I thought, at dinner, that was really, really interesting, because you're such a filmmaker guy, and you look at shots differently than I do, right? Is that, the trailer shows the Zod Superman battle from the ground, and obviously it's meant to bring, the whole, I guess, battle in general was meant to bring up for us feelings of 9/11, right?
Right.
And that's what we're seeing here, is like this building tumbles and people are running, and Batman's the only one running in.
Yep.
But you talked about it last night of, from you've been hot and cold on Ben Affleck before. I, of course, loved him because I'm a fucking Kevin Smith kid. But you've been hot and cold on him before, but you said that in that one look, he had terror and rage and, you know, all these different emotions in his eyes.
Yeah, he sells the look where he's embracing a kid he presumably he saved from Wayne Tower. And as it's coming out, we see the emblem of Wayne Tower destroyed next to him.
Yeah.
And he's staring up, and it really does sell the fact, like, those first few moments we see in the trailer, for me, I think he did a phenomenal job of just getting across all of those complex emotions in one look of, like, you know, and maybe I'm bringing a lot of my own history with Batman to this, but, you know, I can imagine the first time you've seen Superman or something, a being of this caliber, and you've only ever encountered psychopaths until this point. But they're humans for the most part. They're geniuses, and they put you through the ringer, but they don't have laser beams that they shoot out of their eyes, right? They can't fly like gods. And so, in that one look, for me, he got across the fact that this is something wholly different that now he has to deal with, and he can deal with it.
Sure.
And that was, you know, we set up in very, 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 very quick cuts and very, very good imagery the fact that he is still very much the Batman. With you know, while everyone else is running away, he is not even hesitating for a second to run into that cloud of chaos. And save whomever he can save. Presumably, like there might be one or two people that he can help out. And so we go and we get this whole world set up of. He's talking to Alfred, the new Alfred, which is Jeremy Irons, which, you know, I saw the casting news on that a while back. Yeah. But seeing him as Alfred and hearing that voice. Yeah,
he's doing great.
He's like, Michael Caine's like the consigliere for when it's peacetime. You know? Like if we're putting this in terms of The Godfather, like Robert Duvall's character was like the peacetime consigliere. Sure. But when they needed a wartime consigliere, they had to go outside. They had to get someone else, right? Sure. And this is like, to me, the Jeremy Irons character is a little bit more hardcore. He's a little bit...
Just what we saw, I got a lot of... I don't know if you've read it. I got a lot of feels for Batman Earth 1.
No, I have not read it.
And their Alfred is a former military dude and like helps Batman and beats the shit out of Batman at one point and does all this stuff.
Oh, I like that.
He's there to fucking fight. He knows how to roll.
They mentioned that briefly in a couple of the episodes of the original animated series. They were like, Alfred worked for you know, he worked for the British Secret Service.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, and then he wore a tuxedo the rest of his life.
Yeah, and then for the rest of his life, he's just gonna go work for Thomas Wayne. But you don't know. I mean, there's obviously backstory there that can be fleshed out really coolly.
But I thought it was like, you know, what we've been leading up to the whole time and hypothesizing and kicking around theories of like, why would he do this, right? Like, why would Batman be against Superman? And we had the idea of him being in Gotham watching everything go to hell, but it turns out he was in Metropolis
seeing that
at Ground Zero. Yeah.
Seeing those two fight, and you can imagine, and this is the cool thing about it is like we're seeing shots in this obviously that are very, very comic book-esque, right?
Yeah,
You're going to see Batman, and for the first time in a Batman movie, we're going to see Batman do stuff that Batman should do. Right, there's a few shots that stand out in my brain on this one that really, really, really like hit me hard. Right, one of them was the shot where, you know, the people, the woman's reaching up into the stars.
They painted the S on the house that's flooded all around.
And it cuts to the reverse of her, and the camera pans up, and you just see Superman in the clouds with the sun behind him.
It's like, well, get down here, Superman. What's taking you so long?
What are you hesitating on, brother? This water is not receding.
Why are you taking this glory shot? There's like a million people behind us.
Exactly.
We need help.
Come on, hurry up, buddy. So that was beautiful. But then the other shot that really, really, really sold me and told me that there was a Batman fan making this movie was when they showed them fighting, and all those fight scenes were awesome. Yep. And he kind of moves like a tank, where he's like when he's smashing on him. But the one that really got it for me was when Superman looks and he shoots the lasers, and we sort of follow
heat vision. I was going to give you the first. I was letting you go the first time. Then you did it for Zod again. I just want to let you know.
The heat vision. He shoots the heat vision out of his eyes.
Yeah.
Like, are they called eyes, or are they called something different on Krypton?
On Krypton, they're called neosacs.
Neosacs. So he shoots the heat vision out of his neosacs by his gonads. And we follow the beams as they're about to smash into Batman, and the second before they do, he grapple hooks away.
Yeah.
And that, to me, I'm like, thank you. Like, I know that no normal human being can do this, but the Batman can.
And there was the shot I didn't see. Basically, I was getting ready to go host a Comic-Con panel when the trailer dropped, and I stopped in my tracks and watched it in my hotel room on my iPhone, and then turned off all the lights and watched it on my iPhone again.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, now I can go.
Yeah.
On the big screen we just watched it on, right? Like, I didn't catch before the shot where he basically right out of like Arkham Knight, which we just played, right, or the Arkham series, coming in, like gliding in with his cape and just kicking through the glass. Like,
with Superman on top of the glass?
No, not even that one. There's a shot of him like coming at the camera.
Oh, I didn't see that.
But it's a quick cut.
Yeah, see, that's That gives me so much hope. I mean, granted, yeah, I don't know if this is going to be on the same level as Dark Knight, like as far as the impact and great filmmaking and all that stuff. But this is going to have those wow moments for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This is going to have the moments where Batman, you know, the iconic shots of like Batman coming up into like the moon behind him, right, where he's raising the bat cape and he's actually making the symbol and all those things. And we've got obviously a lot of imagery from Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns. That you can't, like, even the suit and the people have drawn comparisons between that shot where he's about to grapple hook off. And you've got the lightning bolt in the background,
and the cover
of the Dark Knight Returns. So there's a lot of detail being paid
in terms of fan service and nailing the characters. I think it's all in that. When at the very end, Superman lands in the Batmobile, tears off the doors, and Batman just fucking stands up, doesn't even make eye contact right away, like stands up and does that thing. Yeah, I know, right?
Like, I got something else up my sleeve for you, dude. This ain't it.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me has to be probably like if I had to guess, that would be like midway through, maybe the first time they encounter each other. Right, and he leaves him alone.
He's chasing around with the Batmobile.
Well, yeah, because then he goes and gets the freaking electrified tank suit that is so well done and looks so good in these shots that I need to see this.
So let's bring up some of the questions I've seen raised already.
Okay.
Wonder Woman. We see her basically knocked into something and like kind of do one of these like shake it off moments and try to go back out. Is she fighting someone or is she trying to break up the fight, you think?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I mean, we have to break it down from as far as plot structure. There's three things going on here, right? There's the duel between Batman and Superman, obviously. Duh, that's the title. There's the complexity of Superman fighting the U.S. government, and then there's the wild card, which is the Lex Luthor character.
Who looks to be influencing Holly Hunter, very much character that's getting in her head, you imagine.
Like Lex Luthor should be.
Right?
Playing the powerful corporate giant and manipulating politicians for his own doings, for his own gain. Now, and that's one of the things that I like about this. A lot of people gave Jesse Eisenberg a lot of shit for the wig or whatever it is. Presumably it's a wig because, spoilers, he's supposed to be bald.
Yeah.
I've seen him bald already.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like I'm wrong, because here on Kind of Funny, when I did the reacts to all the Entertainment Weekly things, I was saying that looks like it's going to be in the very beginning, and then it's not going to be how he went bald, and now in this trailer there's a bunch of shots of him in that wig.
Right.
So it looks like he is going to have hair for a good part of it until either we see him, up against the kryptonite, either he gets radiation poisoning from that, an experiment goes awry, something with Batman and Superman fighting gets him.
Or he's just bald the entire time and he's wearing the wig because that's what Lex Luthor used to do. Remember? In the Donner films, he would
because Gene Hackman didn't want to shave his head. Yeah, I remember.
He would wear the wig.
I remember why he had that.
But so there's a lot of things going on here, so we don't know where Wonder Woman kind of fits in with that. Now, and that is the wild card for me, is that when you start listing off all of those characters, I'm like, granted, I'm not a Hollywood screenwriter, but I can't immediately see how they're going to organically fit her into the story.
Sure. Given
that we have the two biggest titans fighting.
Yeah.
This is no knock against Wonder Woman, but she's not Superman and she's not Batman. I mean, she's not on that caliber of character. I'm sorry. As far as the stories are concerned, like that story to me is going to be a lot more impressive to watch than kind of shoehorning her in. So I hope she's there in a way that makes sense.
I think she's there to have those Hulk moments of the original Avengers. Right. I don't think she's going to be overused. I mean, I think from what we've seen, it looks like Diana Prince in her white dress shows up at this cocktail thing with Bruce. She knows that he's Batman. He knows that she's Wonder Woman, according to Entertainment Weekly, already at that point. So they've already had some kind of introduction back here we don't know.
Oh, so I didn't know that. Gotcha.
I would imagine, if I'm not a Hollywood scriptwriter, obviously, because my movies would be so much
Your movies would feature only Portillo. It would just be, you would reenact Gone with the Wind with just
son.
Portillo.
Show them to Hope Portillo. No.
He's like, just the fucking chew toy in his mouth is the perfect
thing. It's one of those where I could totally see it be that she's showing up in the beginning of the movie to try to play both sides, like, I'm here to meet Superman, this other being that has powers on my level, you know what I mean? And I'm here, I don't know how she gets involved with Batman, but maybe they're all together in the first thing.
I know how she gets involved with Batman.
Whoa, Dr. Justice League style. Then there's the middle section of her trying to talk Batman down at this event, and then I think, it's her trying to break up the fight that we see at the end.
That's possible.
I think I wouldn't even be surprised if she's been clued into what Luthor's really up to and like how that's skewing everything.
And that's the thing. I mean, we have to in order for this to really work in my brain, that fight is not the main focus of the film. That fight happens halfway through the film. Maybe it goes into the third act of the film where they have to fight the real problem, which is Lex Luthor, right? Or they have to fight whatever Lex Luthor has put in the works, so that we can set that up for the actual Justice League.
See, I think that's the bigger thing. Is I wouldn't be surprised if the fight takes place, second to third act where that's the big finale. It's a lead up to like the of like whatever Luther's really been working on,
right?
To then jump off to the next thing.
I don't know. I kind of want
Aquaman being tortured or whatever.
That's a possibility. But taking a step back, how do we feel? I mean, there's a lot of stuff in this, and one of the big things we haven't talked about yet is seeing the Robin suit and seeing the Joker letters written all over it.
I forget. Ha, jokes on you.
Yeah, jokes on you. I mean, obviously they're clearly tying that in with the Suicide Squad, and we obviously at this point we've seen Jared Leto as the Joker, and we can talk about that. You'll have to wait for our reacts on that for when we talk about it. When I talk about it with Tim, but spoilers, I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
So I think that they're going to nail the Joker character, and this world for the first time, to me, is starting to be really fleshed out. I'm really starting to get a sense that this is the DC expanded universe or whatever they're calling it.
Well, what's cool is that when I'm blanking on his name, who's the guy in Suicide Squad in charge of it all?
Will Smith?
No, not the character. The director. Follow him on Twitter. Tweets images all the time. We're both fucking up. Yeah, can you open your IMDb?
Yep.
Anyways, when he tweeted out the Jared Leto photo and said, happy holidays from the Suicide Squad, back then Zack Snyder responded with, ha ha ha, joke's on you. And somebody screen capped that and tweeted that at me. And I was like,
David Ayer.
David Ayer. There it is. Sorry, Mr. Ayer. I know you're watching this as well.
Yeah. He and Zack Snyder right now, I imagine, just be like, I don't care what anyone else thinks. What do Greg and Nick think of the trailer?
The biggest Superman fan on the internet, the biggest movie fan on the internet.
Knocked it out of the park.
Knocked it out of the park. Great trailer. So I like that there's that interaction. You know what I mean? And I saw the shaky Suicide Squad trailer once. Is Batman in that? I thought I saw one frame of Batman.
Yes, actually, I think there's a couple frames. Really? If I'm not mistaken, I watched it on Tim's iPhone, but that's bigger than my TV, so I should know. There's the shot where he's on a cop car, like,
okay, cool.
So making sure I wasn't crazy.
Making sure I wasn't crazy.
So that's another great decision, because that's something that necessarily even Marvel hasn't done yet, right? Like, Marvel hasn't done a movie where it's about side characters, and then all of a sudden Iron Man's just there.
You know what
I mean? And then Captain America's just there for as a side character.
Right. He's in a couple shots.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that's, and they will eventually. They'll get to that place where they're having these characters. The importance of the characters is not going to be as important, because they'll have brought up all the other characters with them. But that's really, really, really ballsy to have.
Thought I muted this already. I just want to make sure as it goes I haven't missed anything.
Yeah, it's really ballsy to make the Suicide Squad and throw Batman in for a few shots, or have him be like he was in the animated movie, where it's like he's not the main focus, but he is still helping to drive it along the plot and help them out a little bit.
Yeah.
Having said that, the interesting thing is, and I'd have to wait till the Suicide Squad movie, this trailer actually gets released so I can see the visual style of it, but the aesthetic of it looks starkly different than this movie.
Yeah.
It's way more hardcore, it's way more gritty, it's
that's
way
the whole
more
point of, like, where I'm like,
indie.
I think that when you take how dark and how everything else is going to be, how real, in quotes, they're trying to make the DC universe compared to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you need that. You need that different thing. Now, the big thing we haven't talked about from this trailer, what do you think is happening with the Superman army and Desert Suit Batman?
See, I don't know. That was one of those things where I'm like we see that. God damn! I wish I want those back muscles so badly. But he's just pulling the tire. Are you kidding me? I'm just. Hey Tim, can we get a tire? Can you give me a giant tractor tire?
We don't have anywhere to put the tire. Don't get the tractor tire.
We can put it right there. We can put it right by Kevin.
Where are you gonna pull it?
Well, Kevin can sit outside. I'll pull it down the street so that Johnson can.
That I would love to see. I would love to see you pull us down.
I would get it about a half a foot and die probably. I also like the minor updates to his costume, by the way we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
God, that shot's beautiful.
All right, now I'm distracting you.
Yeah,
you're not going to listen to my questions.
What was your question?
Here's my prediction for maybe why everything's getting totally fucking crazy.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised. The Superman army everybody wants to talk about, right? These guys who have the Superman logo on their side, they kneel when Superman comes into the one frame and walks by, right? And then we're showing them beating the shit out of Desert Batman.
That was them. Interesting. I didn't catch it.
Well, if you can not get distracted by the rest of the trailer.
I can. God, Diane Lane's so good. So good.
I love Diane Lane.
These people are just like random.
What? They're like
people
are like random what?
Well, the Mardi Gras people, I just assume are random like people that are like praying to him, right? Like that's.
I still think those are some group he saved,
right, or something like that, or maybe he just saved a Halloween party.
Maybe he just saved a Halloween.
Maybe it was just Halloween, and he was like. So there's clearly something happening, right? We've got the body of Zod that's being wheeled down a military
installation, which I think again is probably this. Here's the Superman guy's genuflecting. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I think is happening. these Superman dudes with the army patches, right? Who I believe are the ones beating up on Batman, are all connected with Luthor and connected with Zod. I think Luthor has made an army of Superman enforcers that he's trying to pass off as Superman's armed guard to get the government involved.
So you think he's doing that in order to kind of stoke the fire with the government?
It's a smear campaign. Yeah, totally. We have to stop this.
Now he's taking over the world. We have to
look at what he's doing out here in the desert or whatever.
We have to take Zod. You have to give me Zod's body. You have to tell me how to. I'll reverse engineer it and make something powerful.
Well,
so
I bet he's stolen Zod's body. I would think. But yeah.
Well, I don't know. Those were military people that were wielding it.
But I'm saying, yeah. See, these are all the Superman guards shooting at Batman as he kicks the shit out.
Oh, they are the Superman guards.
See? So I'm saying that this is Luthor's grand plan, one of them at least. He's got this installation, he's got these Superman guards, he's got Zod's body, and he's trying to convince the government that Superman is out to kill everybody, and this is his private military. And probably these guys, they genuflect when Superman shows up. That's Superman. I'm saying that's Superman's first time ever showing up. Or they think that they're working for Superman. They don't know they're working for Luthor. They think they're working on the orders of Superman to make this new world government kind of thing.
That makes sense. That's great. And if that's the case, and that's the thing. If that's the case, I'm 100% behind it.
Yeah, that's a cool plan, right?
I like that they're going more. I like that you can tell that people that are either writing this movie or making this movie watched the Superman animated series and watched that Luthor and know that Luthor is not necessarily someone who's going to go out there and make an island of his own made of kryptonite.
Oh God, yeah.
He's more the kind of guy that's gonna be behind the scenes, making sure that he stays in power regardless of what's going on.
Yeah.
Sorry, I am. Oh, that's the shot you're talking about.
That was
shot.
Right
Yeah, that's so good.
Make sure there's nothing else I missed here.
Now, what do we? Last parting thoughts. A lot of people gave him shit for the red capes are coming.
A lot of people can suck a dick. You know what I mean? Like the internet in general is a bunch of jerks, and that was my thing. Is like somebody. I don't mean to be like if you didn't like the Jesse Eisenberg's portrayal. I thought it was fine. Like I'm totally fine to see this, but like a lot of people are like, this is exactly what I was afraid of. Like he's like Social Network Lex Luthor. I'm like. Okay, cool, but we didn't like it when he was Richard Donner, Lex Luthor,
right?
As
we didn't
Kevin
like it when
Spacey.
It was Kevin Spacey. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, like, let's let him have new motivations. I know that I always get on this bandwagon where, the Joker photo pops up. My first impression is I don't like this.
Right.
Then I have that reaction of, but don't be like everybody else. Like,
give it a shot.
See it in context. You have 75 years of the Joker as you liked him.
Right.
Let's let somebody do something cool with him.
And
so
also,
it's like that's the biggest thing for all of us is not to knee-jerk reaction freak out.
And also let's remember, if they were to just make the exact same Joker over and over again and the exact same Lex Luthor over and over again, it wouldn't be any better.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be as impactful as if you got to give people the leeway to, and the string to go out and try something new and try something cool and make it their own. Otherwise, it won't be unique and it won't be good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, what did you think of the Comic-Con trailer for Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice? Let us know in the comments. Then please share this video with your friends so they can come tell us why we're wrong about Lex Luthor. And of course, keep coming back here to youtube.com/kindafunny for all your comic book movie news. Well, not news, but like
needs.
Us.
All your needs.
Us yelling about comic trailers.
Put it in your body. Put us in your body.
Kind of funny. Put us in your body.